Sharks in Venice might be the worst shark movie I have ever seen. And that's saying a lot. This movie was made in 2008 and it stars Daniel Baldwin. Yes, Daniel Baldwin, who has fallen quite far from his days in The Usual Suspects to this piece of shit. So it stars Daniel Baldwin as sort of a shark scientist, marine professor guy who goes to Venice after his father gets killed in an unfortunate scuba diving accident. If you believe it's an actual scuba diving accident, you're in for a treat. So basically the movie starts out with Daniel Baldwin's father and a couple of other nameless goons looking for some treasure amidst the canals of Venice. There's some sort of ancient golden stockpile there from the Renaissance or something. It's explained later in the film in a rather random sequence, but I'll get to that later. They're led by this guy named Giacomo. Excuse me, his name isn't Giacomo, that's the actor's name. But you know what? I love the name Giacomo, so I'm just going to call him Giacomo. Giacomo. Anyway, Giacomo's got this crazy hair and beard and mustache. He might be my favorite character just because he looks absolutely ridiculous. I'd call him Italian Eurotrash if you want to put a stereotype on him. So basically, these guys are going in there looking for the treasure, and of course they get attacked by some sharks. These sharks being stock footage of great whites. They don't even bother to use CGI or an actual shark model in the beginning of this film because, well, honestly, it's probably the best the sharks are ever going to look. But anyway, they get taken out by the stock footage, and it cuts to Daniel Baldwin at his university teaching a class on, I don't know, sharks, or I think it was diving. He's like, you gotta keep your head on or you'll die down there, cave diving, blah, blah, blah. Pretty quickly, his boss comes in and says that his father died, and his wife shows up, or excuse me, fiance? I don't even remember, it's not important. His fiance, I'm just going to say wife, his wife shows up and very quickly and sort of painfully tells the audience that they're together. I remember watching it going like, well, that was some quick exposition right there. So they go to Italy, where I think they run into some issues with the police. It sort of sets up this weird plot line where I guess the cops don't want people to know that there are great white sharks in the canals of Venice, which I suppose has some merit, but it's also like you just don't want people to know. You know what? Now that I think about it, it might just be like, you know what? It worked in Jaws with a storyline for the mayor and all that crap, so we're going to do it here. Why not? That kind of makes more sense to me now than wondering why they did that. But anyway, the two cop characters, it's like the police chief and this one other cop, this female cop that like really doesn't like Daniel Baldwin. I don't know, maybe because he's Daniel Baldwin, but it sets up this weird subplot that goes throughout the movie. Anyway, they go down and look for his father's body or something. Even the Wikipedia entry doesn't exactly know why they're going down there, but anyway, they go down there with Daniel Baldwin and some Italian guy. I think he might be a cop, going down there and looking for some sign of his body. And of course they get attacked by the great white shark. Why not? I don't remember if it's CGI in this part or not, but eventually Daniel Baldwin gets like trapped in this certain area and goes up into this cave, and of course he finds the treasure trove. Of course. So he finds that. He takes a little piece down. Actually, there's some traps in there he has to go through. There's like some spikes and, you know, Indiana Jones like traps, I guess. But he gets a brooch and he comes back up to the surface in a hospital where he meets Giacomo for the first time. Giacomo's like, hey, here's that brooch you had there. Why don't you go down there or I'm going to threaten your wife or something. So he kidnaps his wife, which, by the way, I know when I was watching it, I looked at this character and I thought to myself, not exactly the Hollywood figure. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I remember sitting there going like, it's sort of funny when you're sitting there half the time going like, is she pregnant? Because she's got a little, I don't... Of course, at the same time, Daniel Baldwin has a serious case of man tits going on throughout this entire film, and oh my god, Daniel Baldwin. At certain points in the film, you can actually hear on the audio his soul dying. It's just so bad. At around this time, the CGI sharks start attacking people. In fact, there's this one instance where one comes out of the water and takes out a gondola, and it looks so bad. I mean, any of the CGI sequences in this movie are very, very quick because they knew it looked god-awful. And I'm talking like, probably, the CGI in Frankenfish is better than this. It's bad. It's really bad. It's bad. So Giacomo blackmails the guy into going down there and getting the treasure, right? He goes down there with some of his henchmen, and of course, the sharks start attacking him. And at this point, I might be getting some of the plot lines out of order, but it's Sharks in Venice. Does it really need accurate plot description? They go down there, the sharks takes out a couple people, but he manages to get Daniel Baldwin and one of the henchmen manages to get up into the cave without the shark attacking him. And at a certain point, this computerized shark head actually comes out of the water. The guy's like climbing up here and goes, "Well, I could get the guy, but screw it," and he goes back down. I think I laughed my ass off at that part. It looks terrible, first of all, and the shark's like, "I could get him, I've jumped out of the water before in this movie, but screw it," and he goes back in. And of course that leaves Daniel Baldwin to fight the henchman and get him killed in one of the traps. So I think he gets out of there with some of the treasure. Once again, jumping down. I don't know why Daniel Baldwin's character does this, but in this movie he has to jump down the tunnel to where his scuba gear is. Of course he gets out again. And it leads to this shootout at the end of the movie between Giacomo's henchmen and the police squad, because they're trying to rescue Daniel Baldwin's wife. And during this confrontation, before all the shooting happens, which there's a lot of shooting, I don't know, it's like a little freaking war in here, I don't know what's going on. Giacomo pulls back this curtain on this tank he's got, and sitting there, not swimming, just sitting there is the shark, like, "Hi, I'm a great white shark. How you doing?" There are so many things stupid with that plot development. First of all, great white sharks have to keep swimming to survive. This one was just sitting there. Second of all, Giacomo says that he put the sharks into the canals of Venice. Don't let that sink in. Because he didn't want people getting his treasure. So at a certain point in the movie, his people are dying because he put sharks in there. So his sharks are eating people. That's a stupid character. I think in the end, Giacomo might like fall into the tank and get killed or some stupid crap like that. And the police officer that was giving the trouble had ended up working for Giacomo, but then she switched again anyway to being a good guy, and then they didn't tell on her. So that entire subplot was pointless. So to wrap things up, Sharks in Venice. The CGI is god-awful. I mean, really bad. The acting's pretty bad. The plot is stupid as hell. There's needless subplots about the police officer. I don't know why that existed at all. And it's just a bad movie. It's like worse than sci-fi original movies. At least the CGI is, I mean, the sci-fi CGI is not that great, but it's better than this crap. I can't say anything more about Sharks in Venice. Wow, it's stupid. Next up will be Shark Attack 3, the Megalodon one, which has been requested by everyone and their mom, and which I am sure will probably be worse than Sharks in Venice. But I don't know. Sharks in Venice has the title right now. If you have any more ridiculous shark movies that you think I should watch, put a link or a title name in the comment box. I'll see you next time with another ridiculous shark movie.